Hope I was unmuted all that time. If I was muted all that time, that's going to be really disappointing. Kind of a bitch. I hope not. I really hope I didn't go through that first 20 minutes of setting all this stuff up on mute. Wow. Oh well. Primarily, this is a homework episode, and I don't think anybody's really watching these Globex streams much. So if it's on mute and you didn't hear anything, I apologize. What we've done is we've gone through, here's the starting, here's Blue Boy, the first print of the session. Here's the low. Here we are so far. IRT. The data based on Edgeful for the session, for the day, MES for Thursday, which is tomorrow. We're doing tomorrow's trading now, right? And the zones arrive. So depending on which is placed first, in this case, the IB low is in first so far. The expected first break is 25% would be the ORB high. And that's because this is a very short session here with very few occurrences. The real great tool for visualizing all of this is TradingView, and these indicators are part and parcel or free, part of your subscription from Edgeful. They are these invite-only ones here, a whole bunch of them. The only ones I use are the opening range, the initial balance, continuation, and the zones, and maybe some others. But I mean, normally and regularly. And this is the dashboard for the current orb. So we're 22 and 3 ticks. Opening range so far. I guess that probably brought us up to speed. What we need to do now is just, we're coming up on the first 30 minutes, so that's good. We have to wait for the first hour because I have, in my mind, the initial balance is always the RTH session. The orb or the opening range breakout to me are now Globex, Asia, London. But what I have done here, and you can set these for whatever you want. Some people trade 1 minute, 3 minute, whatever, the opening range. I set them exactly the same as the initial balance. So this opening range will be concluded at the end of the first hour. In other words, 1800. And then it will be set. And that's how I have the data right here. 60-minute orb in this session. That's this first data, and we're going to just start filtering our way down. We've already just looked at the first filter, and now we're into the rejection, which is by which orb level was formed first. And then we've filtered by day, and then we're going to do the final one is the ending zone. And if it comes to pass, we will do the retrace. That's it. Now I think I didn't have the freaking mute on. Maybe I didn't before. So if this if this is all rehash, well, oops. This is this trading session or system, which I've coded, and I push to these charts, which are real time, but they have nothing to do with the trading system. What these are is visualization tools. The system is evaluating each one of these rules, every bar, and if whatever is necessary to be done or nothing is done. In this case, did this fire when I thought it was supposed to, and it did, right on the money. There was the breakout, pulled back up here to the trigger, it fired the trigger, and everything worked just as it's supposed to work. Today, and this is in the simulated environment within IRT. Any back testing or forward testing on live data is done in the simulated environment. Same way with this trade over here. This is the original initial balance trading system. Again, the chart is just visualization. So any trades that are plotted here or taken with this system are in the simulated environment, because I don't have confidence in my trading or my coding ability to be pushing this stuff to live to the broker with money. Thank you very much. Okie dokie. Smoky. This is IRT as we've gone over. This is Bookmap. My execution platform and my charting platform. Now, in order to trade with Bookmap, we need to activate the trade control panel, which is right up, right here. You click that padlock and then you have to select an account. In this case, I am de-risking from my AMP account to do this hedge system testing, but using Lucid. The reason for that is it's the cheapest return on investment. It's the highest return on investment, or other way around, the least risk, but to still maintain a meaningful and representative volume of contracts and trades, and be able to execute and be able to get paid for it, right? Because you can get payouts. So much more so, I'm certainly not going to experiment and play around with my live AMP account funded with my money. So, worst to worst, if all hell went crazy and I blew this thing up, I've only blown up the cost for that evaluation, which is $50. Wow, do the math. So that's how that is. Now, one of the things you have to do, since I've just restarted the system, is pick a statistics and choose the journal that's correct. Make sure multi-account trading is on, because this pushes to 5 accounts. That's how the scale works. Economy of scale, lean on, and the law of large numbers. And then you can click this button again, and because I have all the metrics up here replicated here, when I click that button, I have all the metrics, and I have cancel and close. So close and cancel. So that's set up. Now I need to do the same for the hedge side of life, which is here. Same exact drill. Oops. Same exact story. Oh, and that's 0, right? So we have 1 there. It's 1 mini, and I forgot that over on the micros, you see? What happens? And we got to jump back over here now and make sure that it's 5. And it's not. It's 0. 5. There we go. That would have pissed me off. So, I'm sure you know the scale ratio is 10 micros to 1 mini. I would hope so. And you'll see how the hedge works in a minute, assuming that it comes to pass. And I also want to see something else here. Okay. Oh, and I have to make sure on the hedge side for this instrument that I have also got those things set properly. Statistics is correct, and multi-accounts is correct, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Ready to roll. Now we're cooking. And, you know, for every day for the last 2.5 weeks until today, nothing has happened. I've had no trades, nothing is triggered. And so far, I'm not, you know, I have no reason to keep doing this. If my idea here was to explore if there was some interesting trade opportunities in this time frame. If not, well, I'm not just standing here, you know, jabbering for my health. If you know what I mean. And I think I explained the theory of the trading journal here, and if not, I'll do it again. Maybe that was in the mute too. Everything on these two main screens, Bookmap and IRT, are captured in the video. My voiceover here, narration, provides insight as to what I was thinking at that moment. So that completes the journal, and it's a permanent record. The nice thing about streaming it to YouTube, I could just record it here locally. The nice part about YouTube is, first of all, it's easily shared, but from my point of view, selfishly, I can review the streams on any device. That's a big deal. I'm standing here between, like on these days, I'm standing here up to 20 hours a day, or 16 at least. Well, I'm certainly not going to, the day stream, the usual RTH stream for the RTH session is 7 hours. I'm not going to ever listen to 7 hours of that, or, you know, monitor all 7 hours. That's why my chapter markers are so important, and I can jump from important event to important event. So that's that. So let's go for the hedge quickly to just explain it. Probably a good idea to do that now. And I'll get the hedge boy up here. So this tool is just something I put together to plot all the pieces of the hedge, and also for this little exercise I'm doing now, I can get my zones out of here from the ORB high and low. Just lazy. Let's pretend, here's Bookmap. So this is the micro. Let's just imagine that we're going to take a trade right here at the POC, and it's 23.5. Let's make it 24, 75.24, and we're going to go long. Context is north, right? 75.24. And it's for 5 micros. Right there. We're going to use a 12 tick or 3-point stop. That would be our normal stop. But in this case, we're substituting the hedge for the stop. Now, I will never put a trade on without a stop. Ever. And I will never move my stop away from entry. Ever. But what I will do is, rather than a hard stop, when it gets to 12 ticks, you're out, right? You're stopped out, and now you scratch your head and start over. What this does is it gives you time for the trade to come right to the direction that you had first anticipated, and allows you to profit from it. Okay, so let's say here's our, and we're short. Well, let's go long. We're gonna go long, won't we? Okay, there's the long, 75.24, 5 handles. If it goes this way, great. We put a stop in, a trailing stop. We have this already in place, this order right here. And we start trailing them up, and that's good. And you take profit, and you get no heat, and the hedge trigger was never reached. Great. Let's assume that price doesn't go that way right immediately, and price comes down to our stop, which is 75.21. 12 ticks or 3 points. Automatically, because I put resting orders in, or limit orders, there will be an additional 5 micro contracts long, bought, purchased, and there will be 1 mini sold short. Now we have a perfect hedge. 2 things have happened. The average price has been brought to 75.2250. The stop is hard. The maximum risk we can have is 6 ticks. Again, the price, contract, long, stop. There's the price. There's the entry. Price goes against us to the stop. We enter 5 more long. We go 5 more long, which brings the average price down to 22.5. We've simultaneously shorted 1 mini. The ratio is 10 to 1, remember? And we have 6 ticks risk. This can go up to the moon, down to the floor all day long, doesn't matter. That's the most amount of risk you're ever going to have until you decide to take off one of the legs. And then you have to do that in such a way that you don't get worse position and get better scratch. Now let's just pretend that we take off the short leg at 22.5, right? We close the short leg at 22.5. Boom. There's our scratch. So if we close the short leg when price comes by here, price has to get to 24, the original entry price, to be a complete scratch. You could close it right there and it would be dead scratch. The further price goes up, it's profit. That's the key. And you can do it the other way around. You can close the long leg. Let's close the long leg at let's close the long leg at 75.22.5. See what that does. I don't know, to be honest with you. Again, the scratch is right down here where we entered. So makes sense. Now, that's just completely hypothetical. And where the position I am, obviously putting on the trade, getting the orders in place, which is they're all resting. Nothing is a limit order. Is a market order. They're all limits. Getting them all set up is no problem, and the 2 instruments is no problem. Where the real nuance and the critical part is which leg you take off and when. To not suddenly get upside down, be upside down. So that's what I'm working on. Now, typically, until I started this stream, and the stream is live, as we've talked about, typically I would be doing my homework on replay. I'd go back a couple of 3 weeks, some market, some day that market, I don't remember the market price action of a day more than a day or two. So if I go back a couple of weeks, it's like a brand new market for me, and I'll trade just put in these orders and work the hedge just to get familiar, competent, and mechanically used to how to set the orders in there, and I'm working on how to take off, which leg to take off when. That's real important, but I can't do that now because this is live trading. So there we go. And we have crossed the Great Divide. Geez, we only got 10 minutes left. Look at here, baby. This is flying, and I'm happy. Okay, let's get back over here to the important stuff. Let's look at, make sure we're seeing the same thing over here. Oh, look at how we go. Zoomed up here, and now we're just in the hole, right? Trading range. Bang, 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 bang. But low was put in first. High remains. We've got 22 handles, which is pretty good. 23. So we have essentially almost 6 points from each of these zones. These are 25% of each one of these is 25% of the whole of the range. So they're around 6 points each. So if we got if we were looking at a trade that pulls back to a retracement to the mid or the 50 or the 25, we would know, we would be able to judge whether that's a reasonable trade. Is there enough meat on the bone for that trade? 12 points is okay. So we're going to just see now. We're just going to let it keep running and see what's up. Okay. Wow. Time is flying by. That's great. That's very great. I'm intentionally not putting in the high or the zones because they're calculated off the two levels, right? And so I don't want to do that. And then have to redo it at the top of the hour. I'll do it once, assuming that I would, go forward with this trading. I will code these as I have done for the RTH session, and all these levels and stuff would be over here. The IB, the high orb high and orb low, and all the levels, and they're all calculated real time. But this is just finger in the air deal here. Or as we refer to it, the technical term for Montana is it's a WAG, which stands for wild ass guess. I'll say one thing, this orb session passes pretty quick. It seems like the Tokyo one and takes forever, and frankly during the RTH session they do also. Which is a good thing. I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't really have any high hopes for this thing. What I suspect is, as I've said before, and I will repeat, I think that the people who do it and who I have talked to that say it's a viable strategy are trading a different instrument. They're trading either the NASDAQ or the SPOOs or the Qs or gold. I heard one woman talking about trading gold with more movement in the opening range. So, or in the session. So that's what I think my issue is. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, you can tell what I want to do. very interesting comment today about from a historian, geopolitical person that knows a lot more than I do. Talking about this MOU and Iran and all this, interrelationship with Israel or Netanyahu in particular, who now is, obviously the biggest risk to this peace deal is Israel now, because Trump insulted Netanyahu and, them several times, and they don't want this peace thing to be happening. And this is all this fellow's opinion, and it makes sense to me. First of all, I was shocked when I saw the insults, on Truth Social or wherever. If it wasn't for, quote, if it wasn't for me, there would be no Israel. Where would that come from, Bibi's got nothing to say. Netanyahu's got nothing to say about this. I'm the guy calling the shots. He's not calling anything. Well, you can imagine that a guy with an ego that's he's a prime minister or whatever they call him of Israel, and he has quite an ego, I believe. I can't imagine that any of that went down very easily. So it makes sense to me that they would be the potential risk, right? One of the interesting comments was that it's generally considered by most historians that Iran has never won a war, but they have never lost a negotiation. I thought that was a real interesting observation. I have no clue, but it'll be interesting to see how it plays out with that, with that in the background, to see if that's how it turns out. I have no clue myself. What I hope is that it's over. I have to keep reminding myself that 4 months ago, there was no war. There was no issue of the Straits of Hormuz. There were no shortages of fertilizer or helium or any of the other supply chain issues we're having, or oil. They are as a result of America and Israel attacking and bombing Iran to supposedly eliminate nuclear threat, which about 7 months ago, after we bombed them, Trump was on TV telling everybody that their nuclear capability was completely obliterated. Now, I don't know. So if it was obliterated a year ago or 6 months ago, why did this happen, 3 months ago? Why did we have to go back and do this? I don't know. Any of this stuff just doesn't ring true to me. It just seems strange, all of it. I don't know. But it doesn't, whatever the cost, whatever the reason, what I hope above everything is that it's over with. People are not suffering. People are not dying. That's who cared. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Let's make sure that we make the omelet, right, and get the people stop dying and people stop suffering. It's the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. And there we are, boys and girls, 1800 macaroni. So, what are we going to do now? Well, I'm going to slap this on the high, right there. And that would be about 28, and this is going to be about 75.04. So I can zoom over here to my magical tool. And 75.04. First of all, I better make sure that's correct. Simplest way for me to do that is look right here. 75, 23.75 it says, and 04 a quarter is what this one says. You know, is this 75 or? There we go. 27.75 and 24 quarter. Okay. What was that? 27.75 and 04 quarter. Okay. Didn't look right. And 04 quarter. All right, so our values are now, let's see if that's 35, 23 and a half. Let's look at what this one says. 23 and a half. Okay, cool. Now, gotta be careful before we have a breakout here. Well, I'm still busy fluffing around. What am I doing? Oh yeah, here we go. So our first one is 25.88. We'll call that 75. So we're gonna put a drawing tool. We're gonna put a horizontal line. 75. 21.88. So 71.25 or 21. 75, we'll call it. The next one is 75.16. And 10 even, I guess. All right. So we've got our zones, we've got our high. Now we can start looking at the next order of business, which is, and we also have our closing zone, which is right here. Now, the closing price of this opening range session is right here. And the way you assign the percentage is it's opposite, you start opposite the first form. So 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75. Oops, 50 to 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75, 7,500. So 0 to 25 is going to be our ending zone story, which is right here. Ending zone, 0 to 25. Now watch what it does to data. Low was formed first. We've got a 33% probability that we're going to break either one of them. And I just don't believe that. And we've just broken out the high, so this one has been taken. It doesn't make sense to me, but I think it has to do with the small range of the session. This was the same thing went through last night. But gonna keep going. That's the point of this homework. Rejection. Oops, retracement. That's what I want to see. So, opening range breakdown is the low. We break out the high. That's right here. If we break the high under these exact circumstances, there's a 37 or 38% probability we'll retrace to the 25, and a 25% probability we would retrace to the 50. What does that mean? If we break out the high, there's a 37 or 38% probability we will retrace to here. 25% will retrace to here. 12% we would retrace to here. So, there's two ways you can trade it. Number one, if you think price is continuing to move up and will continue to go, up and to the right, breakout, retrace, that's your entry, not up here. That's your entry and your stop's down here. What I would do when I did the last time, I interpolated between 38% and 25%, so I figured right in here, somewhere between this zone, in this zone was the better entry. I would say VWAP probably. And then you could either put your stop right here under it tight at the bottom, or below just at the 75% mark, which is only 12% probability we'll get there. The thing that's important to remember though, how many instances are there of that? And this is kind of a nice table, because if you've got plenty of time on your hands, you can plot all these out. You know, you can go look them up on TradingView, for example, and see exactly if they played out right. Is the data's, you know, doing what you think it's supposed to do? So here we are. Let's see what we do. Remember now, this is the breakout, so this would be to the top. Breakout in Edgefield speak is a long, and breakdown is a short. Makes sense. There we go. So we've broken out the top. We now have a possibility of 38% retrace to here, 25% probability retrace to down here. And let's make sure I'm not lying to you. And there we go. Formed first, high was broken, yes. There we are. And there it is. I'll tell you what I would be a little bit interested in, well, here's my thinking process. Look at what happened today. Kevin Trump, Wash, and then the sell-off based on we don't like what we're hearing. A little profit taking here. Is this a sell the rip? You know, like this one was? Sell the rip, kaboom. Sell the rip, kaboom. How much, in other words, how much confidence would I put in continuing up here? Say we came back to the 50. I don't know how to quantify that or to think about that. I understand that the data says, you know, 37% we're going to come to here, 24% or whatever it is, we're going to pull back to here, and only 12% we're going to come down here, given the statistics that we have input in our filter. But it's important to remember, this has got no frickin' idea what happened today. This is just based on these filters and this funnel that we've laid out here. Has nothing to do with what today's previous price was, you know, price range was. What did we do? Did we fall? We fell 120, you know, we sold off 120 something points. I don't know what to think about that. Just being exactly honest. Now let's just, so here we are. And this is not going to take any trades because it doesn't have the zones and the data that it needs. You know what? No, it won't take any, it does calculate the proper stuff. Like I said before, this system doesn't rely on these indicators, which are just visual. It does the calculations internally. But it does have, based on my main thing here, it's only looking at the RTH session. It's not looking at this Globex that we're talking about right now. I think I could change that pretty easily, actually. Didn't think about that. But I don't have to, because I can tell you by looking at it, there's no trade signal. And I don't know what to think about this. What I was just talking about. Let's see something else. The volume's pretty good. So here we are. And now we'll wait till 1900 and then I'll erase all those lines except for Blue Boy. And we'll start with Tokyo. Okidokio, Tokyo. These are the kind of sessions that you can fall into the death trap of boredom trading, making up patterns, you know, all those monkey boy problems that we've inherited, FOMO and fear of missing out, and in this case, seeing patterns that don't exist and boredom and, you know, falling prey to the concept that, you know, because you're standing here doing this, you need to be doing something. And there's absolutely no correlation in trading anyway between effort and reward. Homework and study, preparation, that's different. But there's no, you know, because you're standing here doesn't mean if you click the mouse like crazy, you're going to make any money. Well, look at us go. Up. Showing no signs of shame. They're just going up. Look at that. But if you look at TradingView or, you know, the IRT side of life, which has got the other sessions, we're running into a pile of liquidity right here, right? Consolidation right there, right where the dump went. I don't know if that means anything. Also, if you notice, we're right through this skinny zone here and into where we start getting some consolidation in the volume profile anyway. See all these across here? This is the RTH session that's just finished. This is the ETH now that we're trading. So we're right here at all this support, which is usually considered to change to resistance when approached from below. Oh, I forgot something here. Not that it matters to anybody but me, but where's right there? So this is the end of the Globex zone. These levels then became fixed. You know, and if you're a gambler or a gunslinger or a rearview mirror guy, you saw this double bottom down here and it didn't quite extend any lower and you got long. Well, wouldn't that have been magic? I would have loved to have done that myself. 05 to 33, so there's 25 handles, essentially. Without any heat, boop, up and away you go, up and to the right. And I would imagine that there are people that did that. Good for them. I find that complete gambling, gunslinging, and I don't have any way to quantify that or think it's got any long-term success for trading. Maybe it does. Maybe just the fact that, you know, here we pulled down here on the opening swing and we couldn't get any lower on this test or this one, and so I got long, and maybe that is valid. I'm sure there's somebody somewhere who'll tell you that it is, and that's what they do, and that's how they have a wrapped Ferrari and a whatever else. You know, boom, double tap. The A, B, C, higher lows, a reversal. And there are simple patterns that work, like 3-bar reversals, you know. God, a lot of people make a buttload of money just trading that. And you can't really tell on Bookmap, but that could actually be what's going on over here. Let's go look at something else. Let's look at a bar thing here. No, it didn't. It isn't. That isn't what happened here. In fact, it's not even a double. It's not even a... How is that possible? This doesn't look like the data. This pattern doesn't look like the data in Bookmap because there's no wick. Is the difference this wick to this low? Well, I don't know how you trade that. Maybe on a different, you know, maybe if this is a 5-minute chart, so maybe on a different periodicity. But we're just having our way with it. You see how the high and low of the Asia session is this gold color, and then green is London and red is US. But I try to keep things consistent, and the IBs or the opening range highs and lows are always this green color, so I guess I need to fix that, maybe. Excuse me. Well, we're right at the... right at those support levels. Right here, huh? So this is pretty much wrapped up now for this stream. This data, and it's just walking away from us. So nothing about this. Well, let me rephrase that. Yeah, nothing about this data is actionable here that I know about. In hindsight, of course, you saw this and you just knew that it was going to come down here and you weren't going to get any lower, and so you went, that magical rearview mirror stuff. But I don't know any of that. I don't have those skills, unfortunately. I don't have those skills. So we can put this guy down. We're coming up on, yeah, beats me. Be interesting to see if Tokyo lights up or Asia lights up, if they start squeezing them. And you could make a case for that's exactly what's happening now. They started the squeeze. You see, this is the end of the cash market. Right here. And here's that trade from 1500 to 1600. And then 1700. So what happened? Short. They started squeezing them back up, and they just have continued to squeeze them since we've opened the Globex. This view is actually makes more sense to me of why you would just want to get, when we opened, came down here and then opened up over here, why you would just want to jump on along and ride them. Makes more sense to me than those things I was talking about over here with the double thing and all, double bottom and the higher low and all that. Essentially, this is just a representation of what's over there in Bookmap. It's just in a 5-minute chart. But there's 24 reasons why that's a good idea. This is only 24, and we're up another probably 10. Distance from the low. Oh, here we are, right here. Look at this cute little thing there. We're up 35 handles. 33 handles from the low of this range, or this OB. Well, that's pretty cute. That's pretty cute. I hadn't looked at that before. Well, we got about 35 minutes here until we have Tokyo. This is when it becomes laborious for me. I think I have gold over here, or maybe. Yeah, there's gold. I don't think I've ever traded gold, ever. NASDAQ, yep. ES, yep. Crude oil, yep. I don't think I've ever traded gold. And I'm not sure even how you trade the Qs or SPY, but A lot of people seem to do it, and they're always using Trading View here. The thing that you have to be careful about in the real life, in a real world, is, what is the tick price? And I think the reason that they don't trade that some of these guys like the Qs is it's not ticks, it's pennies. So how that works exactly, I don't know. How those prices correlate with each other, I don't know. And I would have to be careful about commission. First of all, that it's in the data package that I subscribe to, which I don't think it is because it's not a CME. All that stuff. Boy, my eyes. I have no idea what to say or think about this. There's no trade signaled or anything, so I don't know what to say or think or do. Looky there, right into that resistance. Which incidentally is the mid from the RTH session. Well, 25 minutes or so, and then we can move on from this thing. Thank goodness. What's our POC now? Still at okay. This one was taken out. The gap was closed. Abso-friggin-lutely. Excuse me, the only setup that looks to me like it actually would be something that you could validate would be the VPOC migrations. But that's just hindsight, rearview mirror, monkey boy, you know. That's because it's the rearview mirror. Well, tomorrow is the last trading day of the week, and I'm not sure I'll continue these next week. This has been a fruitless effort on this instrument. Oh, it's painful. I don't even have anything else to do. I mean, I have things to do, but I can't go, take out a shower valve. You know what I mean? While I'm watching this. And I've got another 2 hours to go. Mm. Yeah, well, the problem is. Yeah, okay, talk to her about it all you want, and then we'll see. And I'll try to Google, get online. I'm trying to do something here now. This is a lot of fun here now.
Her friends already bought the new big one already. They bought the new one. They want to cut the old one for 10.
Ah, okay. So
Yeah, I told her we don't need what you buy.
yeah, really.
If she needs, okay, buy the same brand.
Yeah, like
that's
yeah.
good and quality.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I agree with that. I didn't realize they bought her a new desk. I thought she was having trouble and needed money. Family drama here. Okay, this is just boring as tears. So we've gotten gonna have the Asian session fire off here in a few minutes. No trades here. I'm gonna get rid of all these lines again and start over. Okay, there's the Tokyo session starts. Watch how the price starts to move. Or the Asian session, I should say. And I'll put the blue boy on over here as soon as it gets away from this zone a little bit. Okay, there's the Asia start. Now we're going to get back over here and change everything. So there we go with Asia. Need to change the dashboard. We're okay here. We're good this way. There was no signal trades, just up. Switch the data around and start fresh here now. So the highest probability by a huge factor is a double break. That's so weird. So weird. I don't know how that could possibly be different. Okay. Yeah, so I'm gonna tough this out, and then this will probably, well, I guess maybe I'll do it tomorrow, but this will be, I think, the last Globex. These are just boring, and I'm tired, and I don't see any profit, I don't see anything interesting here. Well, there we are. So there's the opening range low for this Asia session. Asia's moseying along over here now. We've got the data set up to figure out what's going to happen next, maybe. So far, we've got the rejection, and we're looking at a low formed first. And we'll see what happens. Okay. Now, here's something interesting, a VPOC migration. That could be, I mean, that is a trade signal. A T-Lab and stuff, you know, that's one of the old ones. The VPOC migration or the mid VWAP to VPOC and those kind of things. So that, I've never done any statistics about it to do with oh God. Well, it's almost the 30 minutes. That would be nice to have. I don't mind boring if there's some trading opportunity, but I'm tired and it's boring and there's no opportunity. That's 3 strikes, you're out. 3 strikes, you're out, my brother. What, buddy? I think the dynamic of this ending range thing is pretty strange. I mean, logically, if the opening range low forms first, this makes perfect sense that there's a 61% probability that it'll break out to the opening range high will break first. If the closing candle after 1 hour is up here in this top zone, 0 to 25, that would seem to me to further skew the probability that we'd break out the high. I mean, if price is up here right now and there's the high, seems a lot more likely to be taken out than to be down here. But twice now, or just earlier now, when price closed up in this zone, it said it was 50-50. Doesn't make any sense to me. Oops. This is what I was just talking about with the wrong screen up, sorry. Lows first. high is right now the likely suspect. Makes perfect sense. If the closing zone or the ending zone is in this top zone, which is 0 to 25%, that to me would just further the probability that we, or increase the probability we break out the high. Certainly not that we break out the low. Certainly not reduce the probability we break out the high and increase the probability we break out the low. That makes no sense. I'm going to see what it does. Right now, we'll be high first. Asia, 6 months, doodly-doo. 62%. Let's change this to that that zone, which is 0 to 25. Okay, that sounds better. I like the looks of that a lot better. That makes sense to me. We're now up at 83% and 16%. Why that was not the case a minute ago? It must have to do with my zone story over here. Okay. Well then, good. I guess my logic is paying off. I mean, at least my logic's in line with these guys, so that's good. That's exactly the result I was expecting. Why it was different a minute ago, shoot me. I guess we could look. So all things remaining the same, simply changing to the Chicago Globex. Now, 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. So this Chicago Globex is 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. %. We're going to have to add some more days over here. No. It's not that too. You want me to? Get a new cake. Huh. I've got money. I got a bank. I'm getting a new case. I don't need Dad anymore. What a cutie. So let's see what happens when I do that over here now. All right. Why the hell that didn't work this way a minute ago? I'll have to go back and review the stream. I'm sure as hell not going to worry about it that much, but that was wrong, and I brought it up in the stream. I thought, wait a minute, what is this? Now here's the difference. Let's look at this one, 7 p.m. to 4 a.m. 60-40. Let's look at this, which should be exactly the same, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. Oh, no. Not at all. This is just the 1 hour. Never mind. This is correct. Okay. Well, this should be the same. It's not. 53 to 62. Okay. So these zones, these sessions can make a real big difference. And what I'm trying to accomplish here is to, for example, I want to know in that original opening range breakout, I want to know what the probability of the first break and the retrace breaks in that time frame. I don't care what's going to happen 6 hours from now. I mean, I do, but you know what I mean. from a point of view of trading, it doesn't matter to me. Okay. So now let's get back to somewhere. Where the hell am I? I know I'm all over the board here, but I'm trying to keep from dying of boredom. Not boring, it's homework, but I'm used to doing other I'm used to doing back testing and I'm trying to get used to this whole thing. And the thing that my story with Hedgefly is I want to be damn sure I'm using it right, because I'm looking at it as a supplement or a replacement basically for IRT in terms of identifying vetted trades, and it doesn't really do that. But the next step would be to identify a vetted trade. They do have the tools, it's just cost more money. All right, baby. 1 hour to 1 hour to go. We got the orb high, the orb zone, finishing off at the top of this hour, and then I'm only going to run about another 30 minutes and see what's going on here. And tomorrow morning I've got a 4:30 wake up call. So. If you look at just the Renko, it seems so obvious to have just gone wrong, doesn't it? What is that actually? 04s to 55? 50 handle. And of course, it isn't that simple, or it doesn't strike me that simple. And maybe I'm approaching it from a completely wrong point of view. Maybe I should be trading like that. I don't know. Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is the Globex version of risk neutral trading. The usual stream, and the normal stream is every trading day at 8 o'clock Central Standard Time for all the pre-market and setup software, and then live stream the entire cash session ending at 1500. This is a homework basically to see if there's any interesting opportunities in the Globex and the Asia opening range breakout trades, or ORBs. And the reason I'm streaming them, these sessions, is because I have a commitment to never take a trade off of the stream, and all trades are live real time. So that's the commitment, and here I am. if this doesn't prove to be, beneficial, then I'd continue to do these Globex streams, but always the RTH. It seems like they've hit some resistance here, which kind of makes sense. This is where all hell broke loose. And now we seem to be bumping into it. Let's see if we can look at that over here. Well, there is the full, here's the full RTH session. There's the blue boy from this morning. Let's slide him over here. There we go. And here we are now. So we've just come through this consolidation. This was the Trump, no, this was the Trump dump at 8:30. And this was the FOMC. The rate decision and then the post press conference reaction to the close. The open, the overnight. Squeeze Rooney back up to this consolidation zone. Yeah, that VPOC migration would have worked out just as well as they always do for me. That has got to be the most frustrating setup. It is so obvious. How can you possibly not see the yellow brick road move, right? And yet I have never, it was without a doubt when I was keeping annual hand statistics in a journal, the worst setup of them all, the least profitable, it's really weird. And here we have it over here, here's VPOC migration, and now VPOC migration. Of course, it worked great here. It worked great here. But not so much now. That's always been the problem with that thing for me. I don't think I've seen this, the big separation before during this exercise that I've been going through. Like here, overlapping, dead overlapping, overlapping. That's, oh wow, got a bunch of them down here, I guess. Overlapping, 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 overlapping. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen one. This is the rollover. And here you go. See this little guy down here? It's asking you to roll them. To contract you, boom. So 20 minutes till the orb is set, and then I'm gonna give it another 30 minutes and pull the plug. Start thinking about the high and the zones, I guess. Wait a minute. Hold the phone. Yeah, 60. We're way up here. Okay. That doesn't seem right. Looks like we're higher than that to me. 60 half. 39.75. 60 half, 39.75. At least they're accurate. Good old IRT. And 39.75, is that where we are? Yeah, okay. And there's our open, and we're getting ready to flop in the flop down the close in 15 minutes. Wait a little closer to put the zones in there. Because sure as the minute I put the zones in, they'll zoom this up and push the top out. Am I feeling lucky? Are you feeling lucky, punk? 55.31, huh? Why not? Let's slap on here and hope for the best. $50. And 44. Well, they're the zones. They don't look very close, do they? This looks a lot tighter than this one. What have I got wrong? 60 half and 39.75. Wasn't that it? 60 half and 39.75. All right. 55 and a quarter. Okay. 50 and 10 cents. And 44, let's call it 45. That must be the problem right there, isn't it? Sure it is. Why not? There we go. That's a little better. Well, we'll see what happens. We haven't broken out. We haven't gotten to our time zone. We've got another 10 minutes to go. There we are. Just tracking them. An investigation to see if some research. I'll use Tom's Trader Tom. I'm doing some research this weekend. I was doing my research, which is what it is, I guess. Sure, why not? We've got the correct. We got everything going right over here now. What we need is the zone, ending zone, which will change these figures because we've still got the orb low in first, no question about it. What have we got? 2075. So these are 4 points, basically 4 handles between each zone. I would say for enough meat on the bone, this would require pullback to the 50. That's only 8 points. Probably, to be honest, not enough meat on the bone for the basic setup. Likely. And if this keeps pulling back and we close in here, the way that closing zone is determined, if you're new here, is this was the first level put in, the low. The allocation of those percentages starts opposite the first level formed. 0 to 25, 25 to 50, 55 to 70, 75 to 100. Those are the zones that are put in here. like this. There they are. And this is the text, how they describe it. I think you'll find it's what I just said. So, if this keeps coming down here, as it is now, the way that's determined is the close of the final bar inside the zone, inside the, the opening range, is what determines the position of that close is what determines the ending zone. So right now we would be in the 50 to 75 zone. That will flip that statistic on its head, I promise you. That will flip this thing all around. So we'll just keep watching. We've got basically 8 more minutes till the close, so that a lot can happen. And now here's the part that can happen very definitely and can be really frustrating. They come down and put in a new low. What's that do? Well, all of a sudden, the opening range low is not the first anymore. It's the opening range high. And so you use the whole different dynamic over here. High formed first, low formed first. That's how the specifics of it are. And it's important because it's part of the filtering. Becoming, from the wide to the more granular. I'm not saying that's going to happen, but I've seen it happen pretty close in the IB, for sure. Okay, 4 minutes to go. Yeah, boy. Yahoo, buckaroo. I'm ready. I am ready. There's 5 minutes. So we can wait for our thing, but we can't see Blue Boy, and he doesn't like that. He gets all butthurt when he's not, center of attention over here. There we go. There's Blue Boy in 5 minutes. Now we're cooking. Well, we're between the 50 and the 75 here. This is not... give me an all warm and fuzzy feeling about this opening range breakout. They sure came through that gap with conviction. They close this thing between the 50 and the 75 or even lower. It's going to just... here we go. We're almost there, too. We got just 30 seconds, basically. 25 to 40 seconds. Yay, team. Well, good. The zones didn't go south. That's nice. Good zone. There you go. So we'll slap on the marker for the zone, even though we know what it is. And we'll check the ending zone designation, and there you go. So the ending zone designation, I'm going to go out on a statement and say is between the 50 and 75. 25 and 50, I'm sorry. So let's jump over here and look. Yep, there it is, right there. Between the 25 and the 50, it's right there. Because this is the open, but this candle or this bar will close outside of the zone. 5-minute bars. So there you are. So now what we need to do is jump over here to and pick our ending zone. First of all, what have we got? 61 half and 38. Ending zone, 25 to 50. 50-50. Okay. Well, that means there we are. So there's I think it should be obvious that the possibility to front run that would be really, really dumb. Now, that doesn't discount the fact of the retrace idea, because all this is saying is which will be the first break. Then the retest, given all the same other data, or the retrace, given all the same other data, gives the probabilities dependent upon which of the zones or which of the levels was the first break. And we can do that like this. But if we break out to the upside, break out, these are the probabilities of retrace from breakout to 25 is 60%, to 50 is 27, or say 30%, 60 to 30. So You know, this would require interpolation as far as I was concerned. If we break out the low first, it's 70% will retrace to the 25, 43% will retrace to the 50. Typically, what I've noticed is there's a higher probability if it's a IB low or opening range low breakout and you're looking to short, pull back to the 50 is the better call when the stop above. Now there's one guy that does these, a hedge fund guy, and he does everybody from the 50. But sometimes he also front runs from the 50. In this situation, as far as I'm concerned, front runner would be just stupid because it's now. What is the context of the session so far overall? Up. We're up around the 20. To front run to the break on the upside, that's maybe more likely than down here. I'll definitely agree with that. But I'm not going to try it. So there we are. We've got the stats figured out. We've got Trading View is all done and dusted. And we'll just watch it play and have a fine day. And throw on the, so the old guy doesn't get confused. Throw on this beauty. That's the end of the zone. I mean, that's the end of the IB. OB. Geez, I'm so stuck on initial balance. I can't get it out of my head and call it the opening range breakdown. The ORB, baby. And, you know, add them all together. We had a VPOC migration up. Where'd that mouse go? VPOC migration up. Context is up. We set this high. We recently put the ORB high, pulled back to the 50. Likely we're going to take the ORB high out and continue maybe for the end of the evening session. That would be very likely. I wouldn't put a trade on here in anticipation for two reasons. The data says it's 50-50. We break the high or the low. That seems like pure ass gambling to me. And it's, you know, I'm going to close the stream off at the bottom of this hour. And I am not going to want to manage some trade into the wee hours of the night or the morning, you know? So the point of this is to see if there was some interesting stuff that happens in the sessions that I'm watching, and so far there has not been. So there we go. This will be interesting as hell to see if it does in fact take the ORB high or the go down for the low. I'd be pretty damn surprised with this with the context, basically the squeeze they've got going on. I'd be real surprised if they took the low here, even though the stat says 50-50. You got to remember that the statistics are only looking at the history. No, they don't have all that specific day data like that happened today, for example, the big dump and, you know, all those things. Yeah, context is for sure up. Looks like a squeeze. I'd be amazed if we don't take the IB high or the ORB high. But the data says 50-50 because of the closing price right here and the other. I mean, the closing number and the other stuff. Hmm. So we're going to break the high here, right there. And if you were, oh, look at there. If you were a front runner, you all happy. From the 50, I just don't think there's any future in it. I mean, not according to the data, there's not, so there's no question about it. Not a matter of what I think, it's a matter of what I know. No break yet, but it's just a matter of time as far as I'm concerned. That's amazing, huh? They came up there and bumped their head on that and turned it right around and skedaddled the other way. That's pretty amazing. If I do say so myself. That's pretty a sign of light volatility, I would guess. And what is that? Is that something? Oh, look at there. That's exactly the number at the Trump low. and the the London low. Headphone pads. New ones? I'll have to think about that. Oh, I'm a big just buying stuff. I'll have to think about it. Well, I'll have to think about it. Like, can I look in the morning? Yeah. That's pretty shocking to me that this is interesting that this is exactly a London low to the tick. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not sure how this, to be honest with you, I'm not sure how this zone works because this is the overlap of America and London. So within the London zone, this is the Trump dump. Ooh, that's interesting to think about. I don't know. The amazing part about it is I think it is to the tick where the high is here now. Not that I don't know, conspiracy theory, but that's pretty interesting. Now, this is London, and here's Asia, right? But here's London. This was London's low until we did this, and then until we did this. So this really doesn't have anything to do with the London numbers, I guess, except that it is occurred within the session on the overlap. Ooh, I don't know what to think about that. I do find this pretty strange, though, or pretty interesting that we've come up right exactly to the tick on this Trump dump. And we commented earlier in the RTH session, the stream this morning, why? What did that number have to do with anything? 60, whatever it was. Where did that come from? This thing, he put that out there and it just dumped to that number and zoomed right back up. Because here's the close, right? Open, Trump, close. Why? What was down here? Was it a fat finger? Was it a mistake? Was there some sort of a, I don't know what? Option goofiness down here? I don't know. It sure seemed like it was a hard stop here and here and here. Now we'll see if we're going to pop through it now. Spot gamma or one of those, some of that mysterious option-y stuff. Remember, there are no instances in the data where there's been a zero break. In other words, in that remained within the orb. Look at that. Well, look at that. Look at it hold. That's pretty funny. Not funny, haha, but funny. Well, it'd be interesting to see this level break if it's going to, and then if it runs or what it does. But we're nearing the bottom of the hour, and I need to. Thinking about what I got to do before I button this up. Having a 4:30 in the morning wake up call. I'd like to see that damn break. Oh, there we go. We broke the high. Broke the high by a tick. Looky there. Right there. Broke the high by a tick. Took the high by a tick, and this is where we would, if I was going to be really looking into it, I would be, we broke the opening range high, breakout, 59 or 60% probability we pull back to the 25. 27% we pull back to the 50. Doesn't mean where we might go after that. And if there was enough meat on the bone here, but it's 55 to 60, so that's 5 handles. That's not much of a target. It's not pulling back either, by the way, but that's the way that's how the data would be used. I'm going to close the stream off at the bottom of the hour. Remember, thanks for coming by. Like and subscribe. That's really, I really appreciate that. And the normal stream, risk neutral trading, is 8 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time to 1500, which is the end of the cash market. The first 30 minutes is pre-market news, reports, set up the software, analyze what happened overnight, and get ready for the open. Then trade through the day. This is my virtual trading journal. All trades are live, real time. never a recording or a replay. And the idea here is that everything that I'm watching is captured in the video, and then my voiceover provides insight as to what I was thinking. So there you have it. Remember that you are the most critical tool you've got in your trading arsenal, in your trading room or office, desk, whatever you want to call it. We all make so much, pay so much attention to monitors and DPI and software and indicators and all that stuff. And, you know, you got to remember that your eyes take in all that data and your brain processes it, and you use that to make financial decisions for you and your family. So you need to pay special attention and take extra good care of yourself. Your eyes, rest from the market, get away from the screens every couple hours, look outside, get outside, focus on the, soft focus down the horizon. Exercise, stay fit, be sure you're well rested, hydrated, not on emotional tilt. And I'm gonna pull the stream off at the bottom of the hour because I got stuff to do, and then a 4:30 in the morning wake up call for damn. So I appreciate very much you coming by the stream. Next time, drop something in the chat, and we'll have a discussion. The risk neutral trading, complete transparency, full accountability. Only live trades. Captured live and real time. Well, this is pretty much of a puzzler though, isn't it? We broke out. Here's this 60% retrace to the 25 if we do that. I'm kind of curious to see what happens myself here. It's the bottom of the hour. This is one of the problems with the with this is I'm going to start getting rid of these lines here before I get all confused and forget them. I'm not going to worry too much about the bottom here. Okay, have a great night. Rest of your trading day is wherever you are. If you're in Asia or somewhere, Selamat pagi. If you're in Kuala Lumpur, have a great one. Thanks for coming by. Remember, the main stream is 8 o'clock in the morning until 1500 Central Standard Time, and that is every trading day. So there you go. Have a good one. Take care of yourself.